Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. As promised, recently I did a video on bugs and creepy crawlies, and in that video I did say I would do a full separate video taking a more in-depth look at spiders. Here it is. So, on the surface, everything I said that applies to bugs applies to spiders for the most part. Keep them out of my house, don't let them touch me. I don't want to know they exist. Just stay away from me. But there's a few caveats that I have to explore separate from just bugs and creepy crawlies and insects in general. The very first thing I have to explore is the fact that I am deathly afraid of spiders. Terrified beyond irrational. No. I do not need to be in the presence of spiders. To that end, I will break my bug rule of if it's in the house, leave it alone. No, outside, leave it alone. If it's in the house, it dies. No, spiders are fair game. I don't care if I'm in their lair. I don't care if I'm under the house. I don't care if I'm at the lake. If I see a spider, it dies. Just point blank, that's it. There is no forgiveness. There's no second chances. There is no appeal. It is an instantaneous death sentence carried out immediately. I know there's a lot of people that are not hip to that, and I'm sorry, but I am too insanely afraid of spiders to be in their presence. I cannot function if I see a spider. Even if I let it outside and turn it loose, in the back of my irrational brain, I'm thinking, yeah, it knows me now, and it's coming for me now, and no, it does not get that opportunity. Also, I have seen excruciatingly terrifying and painful horror films with spiders in them. Some are scary because the spiders are there, and some are scary spider movies. Like Arachnophobia, for example. A movie I will never rewatch or talk about on my other channel, Horror Trans. Might not appear on this channel outside of this mention, and maybe a future top 25 scariest movies of all time, possibly? Maybe? And beyond that, no. Just no. More or less, if it's got spiders in it, especially giant spiders, and especially giant spiders that are trying to kill people, I'm out. I don't watch those movies. I don't play those video games. I stopped playing and have refused to return to The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Nintendo 64, because the giant spider in the Deku Tree. I get there and I'm like, I'm tapping out. This is as far as I go. So, no. But, where does this come from, you wonder, right? I mentioned irrational fear. Well, it kind of is irrational, to tell you the truth. But it's also kind of not. So, this may shock you. When I was a young child, I loved spiders. I was obsessed with spiders. Yes, to the point that I would watch and seek out horror movies that had spiders in them. I couldn't get enough spiders as a kid. I read the comic book Spider-Man by Marvel Comics because I was so I was fascinated by spiders. The webbing. They're by and large black or dark colors. They're creepy, they're gothic, they're scary, they're monsters. They're itty-bitty little monsters that if they were the size of even a mouse, they would be terrifying. But I thought they were cool. So much so that I used to catch live spiders and keep them in a shoebox in my bedroom and feed them other bugs and, put sticks and leaves and stuff in there for them to have a little habitat. What changed, you wonder? Honestly, it's not going to sound very rational, like I said. But, I had a nightmare when I was 8 years old that I was under the house and I was crawling over a giant spider and it killed me in the dream and I woke up bawling. I was in tears. And I was in, I believe, 2nd grade at the time. And we had just started the unit in biology, which is probably what triggered the dream, on spiders in science class. And they showed us a blown up projected on the projector. They had the little film strip projector. You know, the slide projector that goes click, 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 and it shows you slides. They showed us one of those, and it was a zoomed in close-up of a spider's fangs, and it looked like a literal monster. The stuff of nightmares. Eldritch horror stuff. The scariest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And coupled with that, and that irrational dream, it triggered something in my brain that broke. It made me, from that point on, from that point forward, just scared of or trepidatious in regards to spiders. I was like, okay, they're mean, leave me alone, stay away. However, my fear compounded when I was in my early 20s. I was bit by a spider. And there was a ball of pus this big on my leg, black and purple, that lasted for over a week. I didn't have the money to go to the doctor. I thought I was going to lose the leg or die. Eventually, I took a knife and cut the motherfucking thing off my leg and drained the grayish, goopy pus out of my leg, which was gross. And bandaged my leg up with antibiotics and cleaned it up, and it healed. Fortunately, I didn't lose the leg, but it was a terrifying experience. Also, around that same time, I watched the movie It from 1990 for the very first time. And just a combination of the previous trigger, that nightmare, this ginormous spider bite, learning more about how terrifyingly deadly they actually are. Not all of them, but enough of them that I'm not intelligent enough, at least knowledgeable enough, I should say, of the various species to be able to identify the scary ones and the safer ones. So as far as I'm concerned, they all must die. Just point blank, they all must die. Do not touch me. Now, I was always touch-averse. Even as a kid, I did not like holding hands. I did not like getting hugs. I do not like it when people pat me on the back or rub my shoulder or none of that. I don't like to be touched. I never have, and I never will. And just the thought of anything touching me, creepy crawly, bug, fly, cockroach, whatever, gives me the heebie-jeebies. But the idea of a potentially poisonous, possibly deadly mutant monster from the darkest pits of hell in the form of an arachnid? Oh, God fucking no. It touches me, I'm going to scream and cry and run all at the same time. And probably run into stuff as I go. Irrationally trying to get away from the motherfucker. I do not do spiders. Now, if you watched my channel or followed my blog or my social media prior to the rebrand, you're probably confused because my website used to be called The Spider's Lair, and this channel used to be called The Spider's Lair as well. Yes, that was sort of at the behest, I would say incorrectly, of one of my therapists, who is no longer in my life, thank you very much, who suggested I, quote, face my fears head on. To that former therapist, eat shit kindly and go fuck off. No, you don't face your fucking fears. You avoid them and you do everything you can to just not think about them. That's how you cope. Facing your fears is stupid because that runs the risk of triggering an anxiety attack or worse. I think that's bad therapist advice. I'm not a therapist, but I'm going to tell you that don't work for me. The whole face your fears? No. Absolutely not. So eventually, I did away with the spider imagery that was all over my website and rebranded it just StephanieBree.com and rebranded this channel to The Stephanie Bree Show. Which was the name of my podcast for a while. I killed it and then just recently brought it back as a video live stream. So there is that, but it is what it is. Anyways, I had briefly considered, while I was still branding under the Spider's Lair, getting a spider tattoo on my arm. And I thank the gods I did not do that. Because I would have probably burned it off with a torch by now if I had done that. That would have been a humongous mistake. I do not desire to go to therapy to work through my irrational fear of spiders. I would rather spend my life avoiding the motherfuckers at all cost.